This is preparing to switch, and now you can see we've got a fairing on. We tested with and without the fairings. And this is also a Craig Vetter fairing that came from California. I'm on the left and I'm wearing a Tom DeWan modified motorcycle / snowmobile suit. Toasty warm, never wet, wonderful. And there you go. And on this track, at the speed of 750 would go, I think we could average very close to 120 miles an hour, just wide open. You could be brain dead. I'm serious. You just sat there. You didn't turn, you didn't lean, you didn't do a damn thing. You just keep the throttle on and pick a line and go around that track. And this is actually high through that turn. You could be below the black line that this rider is above on a 750 at full throttle all the way around the track. The CBX, however, was up from this bike. When we would go 140 mile an hour average around the track, and the Japanese testers would ride on the flat to the right of the white, and if you were riding above them, especially with the CBXs, you could look down and you could see the bottom of the crankcase. They're laying it down that far. Wide open, and we're up on the banking, safe, and with it at 140, it was still nothing trick. We're learning to play a Japanese game or an Oriental name called Go, and we're in one of the little rider huts. And you play this with little pebble-like things that are, some are white and some are black. They were teaching us how to play Go. Not successfully. These are all shots at the Hamamatsu plant where they made the Honda 450s, 350s. I think Suzuka had the smaller bikes. That's a test, like a little mini test at the end of the assembly line. The riders would come off with the bikes, pop into these little test chambers, and they would test the lights, the horn, the front brake, the rear brake, and go up and down through the gears, and then pop out of there. And if the bike met all the requirements, it would go off into a lineup like that. They made more motorcycles in one day than some companies made in a year. This is a close-up of the front brake, and we're now at Hamamatsu, and I think we're kind of working into the stages of final assembly of the very first CB450, and it's March 13th, 1969. Remembering that I got there on February 6th, and they had accomplished all of this stuff in that amount of time. It was impressive. One of the things that happened when we were at R&D is after lunch one day, Mr. Honda would come and have lunch with everybody. Sit down at the table in his little green cap, his little white suit, and his little white gloves. But we would eat lunch, and he came out of the cafeteria and went over to a brake testing dynamometer. And there's a young technician working, and the brakes are squealing. Never heard of that either, have you? And they're wondering, what are we going to do about this? Well, at that time, the brake rotors were chrome plated. So Mr. Honda talks to this young technician, and we're kind of standing there watching all of this, and he's making suggestions to this young guy. Later on, we found out that what Mr. Honda suggested was that the brake disc and its spider be insulated from the hub with like a gasket material. And they tried that, and it made a big difference, but they also got rid of the chrome-plated discs. So, this is the instrument cluster. Right side, left side, right side of the engine. Somebody from the Sandcast Club, tell me regarding the number of screws used to secure the Sandcast clutch cover versus a die cast. Who knows the answer?
What they were saying, Bob, you go out of the light. Sandcast doesn't have one down here. All the other engines do.
Okay, so when Sandcast had,
Screw holding is not.
all right.
So some said that's the easiest way to determine
Yeah.
Sandcast, because some people don't think that.
I think it's 9 versus 10.
Yes, but
Okay,
some
that's
people say
fine.
the roughness of the cables is hard to determine, so that's the final.
Another shot of the engine. This is actually the bike moving down the assembly line. They could not pick up the engine and put it into a vertical frame. It was too heavy. So they made some kind of a box, and they would tip the engine up on its left side, and when it came down, two guys would lay the frame down over the engine. And then they would put the plates and bolts in place, and when it went down, they'd stand it up on the bottom, and down the line it went. This is more, this is Hamamatsu on March 13th. Guys putting the finishing touches on. That's the finished bike. I don't know, I don't think the rear fender's on there, is it? Doesn't look like it. I can't tell.
Doesn't look.
The 1 year and 2, this was March 13th, 1 year and 2 days after that bike came off the assembly line in Hamamatsu, Bob Hansen and Dick Mann and some of us won Daytona. 1 year and 2 days later, the 750 won Daytona. That's kind of impressive. Thank you, folks, and if you have any questions, you'll probably want to